All right. We're going to do some point of view product photography here in my very small but super cozy home studio. Let's get started. Let's get one of these guys. Oh, actually, there's Mr. Pinion. Come here, buddy. Good boy. World's best baby boy. This is behind where we're shooting. We're going to be using 3 lights. Two of them will be alien bees. This is a B800. The other one's like a B400, I think. Oh, tightening it. That is not how it works. We've got the beautiful blue mood lighting, which helps everything fluoresce, make it look super cool. But we will turn that off here in a second. Most likely, and that's always good for them to fall over like that. All right, next thing we need to do is get a, we're going to steal our power strip, which is over here where I charge all the batteries. And that thing was in there really good. Excellent. He's free now. And we have a cord all ready for us right here. Put him there. Plug this guy in like that. He's already turned on for good luck, I guess. I'm gonna go like that. I'm gonna turn these legs. See how they're pointed out? I'm gonna put one of the legs in front because it's gonna have a big modifier coming that way, and I want the weight on a leg. And then we're gonna turn off the modeling light. Ah, here we go. This is a very cheap Neewer, I think, or maybe even, remember Cowboy Studio? It may even be one of those. It may be really old. There we go, just like that. And then we are going to move this so it is directly up against our fabric. Yep, our thing is coming undone here. I would just like to say that the most precarious light modifier connection is whatever these are for the Alienwares. Ah, look at that. That's almost perfect. We're going to raise it up a little bit. I think that's probably just about right. We'll go check. That is going to be perfect for our needs. Move our shooting table over like that. This is a piece of white acrylic. And underneath it is a Slow children sign. Oh boy. And we will clean off that acrylic here in a second so it doesn't have any dust. There we go. Next thing is I'm going to want a light that is basically up here, about this high, maybe a little bit higher. We'll see here in a second. And for that, we'll use one of our favorite devices, that being a C-stand. C-stands, if you've never had one, it might look incredibly complicated, but all of these knobs and dials, these are all here to ensure that not only is this thing stable, that's like a good 40 to 50 pounds of weight just in the stand itself, but it moves in all types of directions, lets you do cool stuff. So let's get our next light. The next light is the B400, as prophesized. Today, aside from the cameras, which are obviously a little bit pricey, we will be doing everything with fairly cheap. And by cheap, I just mean affordable. I don't mean crappy. Fairly low cost items. So here is a Neewer, what does this say? 60-90 millimeter umbrella softbox. If you've seen these before, you are familiar. If not, it is basically an umbrella, where instead of getting your normal parabolic shape, you get something that is much more rectangular. And we will be mounting this in such a way that it is basically like this above our subject. And we do that by taking our light and you want the light to basically be as far back as possible. And then with the alien bees, you have a little lever here to tighten it down, and that's pretty tight. Shouldn't slide off. You never know for sure though until you test it. You never know until it falls, and then all of a sudden you know it's not quite tight enough. But in this case, we're good. So what we need to do now is I will set it like this for a second. We will come over to our C-stand, and I'm going to take, there's a knuckle here and a knuckle here. There's a knuckle here for the extension arm articulation. We will take that. I'm going to extend it out about like that for now. And then we're going to feed this knuckle, which has the nail pin 4. We're going to feed it through this little hole. All right, well, the light has insisted on not falling, so that is a good sign. Always excited by things not failing. There we go. We've got it mounted. Now we just need to tighten it up. One of the biggest bonuses from using a fairly inexpensive, but even more importantly, lightweight light like this is that you can move it around really easily. If you put a really heavy light or a giant modifier at the end of any stand, including a C-stand, they will try to get away from you. and it could cause you a whole lot of problems. And that is one of those fun facts that you find out early on in your photography career. So over there I've got this really nice walkway where I can sort of maneuver. So let's put this light, well actually, because of this bar here, we are going to have to put it over there. I was going to try to put it here, but this bar will just hit that wall. So that's not going to work. And it is almost exactly that right there. We will extend this out a little bit, if I can do it without breaking an arm. There we go. That is really good. Excellent. Okay, now we have a power cord for this guy as well. We can feed this power cord through the same port. Or actually, we haven't put the diffusion on, so we can just go right here. I'll even use the right side of the cable for fun. Oops, there it is. Oh, so much easier when you do it the right way. So much easier. Wow, I really recommend that. Okay, easy. Now we will feed this through our little port. Have it lay on top of that, have it lay on top of that. Zip and zip. Perfect. Now we're going to use the diffusion and just put it on. Super easy. And there we go. Plug it in. He is also turned on, which is cool. And we have the first two components of our light. But those aren't necessarily the most important components. We have other things we need to do here. Let's get those done. When working with products, I like to have a large envelope or sort of a box of light for these things to live in. And so you'll see me use something like this. I believe these are called Justin clamps. It's made by Manfrotto in Italy, and that's about all we know. Awesome. I'm going to attach him like that. Clamp it down. There we go. And we'll do, I have an identical stand here. These are very cheap stands again. So far, the most expensive things that we're using are the C stands and the lights themselves. But the C stands, this one here that I'm not using at the moment, this is a Neewer, so this is a fairly cheap one. I think it's like 70 bucks. This is a more professional brand, Impact, and he was like 120. But price doesn't matter. You're just looking for the job to get done, okay? And then now everybody's favorite thing, stand management. Where can I put my stands where they don't bump into each other? All right, the next part of this equation is diffusion. And I am going to attempt to do the diffusion in such a way that it is creating another box, sort of side to side. The reason is that you want to try to create these boxes is because if you're shooting photos of reflective objects, they will reflect everything around you, the environment in particular. So if you've got dark spots, it will reflect the dark spots. So for instance, you look in here, you can see right here, there's sort of a dark streak. It will reflect that. So that is something we will keep an eye on, and we will almost definitely have to fix, change, adjust, do something to address. Let's swap these out. Let's do the smaller one, littler, smaller, less bigger. All right, let's do him over here. How close are we? Just like that. See, that's this black. You see that little black fabric? Guess what? That will be a problem. But I'm not gonna panic about it yet. Ooh, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe I should have done the opposite. Oh my God, this thing is so big. Don't panic. Don't panic. Panic, oh God. Oh geez. Let's bring this guy up a little bit. Calm down. What you're witnessing there is good old-fashioned static firing. It's very dry and cold here, and every time two pieces of metal touch, the light goes off. So move him forward, tilt him like that, and let me move this forward. More static. Awesome. This guy tucked inside like that. Okay. There actually is a reason for having this guy out really far like this, which we'll get into in a second. But right now we basically have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful box. If we put our hand in there, you can see, you know, the top and the bottom is lit and the front is a little dark. That's actually what we want, because we're going to be creating some really cool lighting. Product placement. If we take our friend Beethoven here, oh, we're losing the hair. Sorry, Beethoven, your mullet's gonna have to stay behind. But if we take our friend Beethoven here and we put him in the box, you can kind of see how cool the lighting is. We get a lot of edge light right now, the top is lit, and in fact he has an overall quality of ambient, even with the dog collar. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. That's what we're aiming for. So we'll take this back out. And so far we've only used 2 lights. We will hair club for men. Beethoven here. So he's got his rollover Beethoven mullet. And we will have a 3rd light. And that 3rd light, oh stop with the static. That 3rd light, there's a lot of static. A 3rd light will live back here, and we'll use this whole expansive space to light through. Because with product photography, you're almost trying to project the light onto the surface. You have to think of it as projection or reflection, as opposed to like when you light a person. Because when you light a person, their skin absorbs the light and then it re-emits that light sort of, you know, in very soft, beautiful ways. When you're photographing a product, which is often metal or plastic, and maybe it has a high specularity to it, what it's actually doing is it's giving you a reflection of the light that it is receiving. So what we can do is we can use this almost as a TV screen. If we put a light right next to the TV screen basically projects a light that's as big as the light itself, right? But if we move the light on the other side, like maybe a foot away, well, you know what happens if the light's this big up close, it becomes this big on this screen, and then that gets projected onto the product. And then your photo is the result of sort of that projection, as opposed to just good old-fashioned standard lighting. It's hard to explain, but it makes sense in the long run. All right, let's start big. This guy. Oh, but before we do that, we really should wipe down our surface there. And I don't know if oh wait, I do. There's Sophia Pfeiffer's, the little dark dog in the corner. There's this. Oh my gosh. Like literally every time. Oh, and then, you know, like as if the ooh, look how dirty that was. As if the static isn't bad enough, try to wipe a piece of acrylic. I don't know, can you hear it? You can hear the static. That's crazy. Okay. So there we go. That's pretty much wiped down. Dirty, dirty. The other thing we need to do when you're handling products that are fresh out of boxes, I have a little secret. And I've got a brand new case of it right here. And that secret is gloves. You will save yourself potentially over the course of a project like this where you have multiple products. You could be potentially saving yourself several hours of cleaning time, and I mean cleaning the product. Oh my God, how are these packed in here? Would I speak to the manager, please? What in the hell? I feel like I'm just gonna tear them up. Bro. Oh my God. Okay, well, whatever. Let's put those there. So we will take our gloves, put these on. Now we look cool and we feel cool. Feel like an operator. All right. A smooth operator at that. You stay. Oh my God, do not drop the client's products. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you a traffic light. And this is that is literally a traffic light. Is there anything else in here? There is not. There is not. It is a traffic light. Okay. So there we go. We have a traffic light. Is the traffic light dirty? The traffic light is a little dirty, so, you know, the gloves ain't gonna make too much of a difference. So another thing we can do is, if I have it handy, I don't know if I do. I don't know if I do. I have a little blowy vacuumy thingy somewhere around here. It's really handy when I know where it is. It's not up there. Alexa, set photo to white. All right. Not there. Not there. Not there. It's got to be back. There it is. Alexa, set photo to blue. Okay. This thing is worth its weight in gold. We literally just blew away about 50% of all the surface dust like that. Okay, did we throw away our previous? We did, here it is. He's back. If you want to clean things, I say you try to clean them with absolutely nothing first. If it's plastic, you use water. If it's really dirty, you use water and a little bit of dish soap. We're lucky enough here that the office has a sink in it. How cool is that? Didn't even know you needed that, but you do. And if it's metal, you do not use water and you do not use soap. You use rubbing alcohol, unless the finish specifically will not handle rubbing alcohol, in which case if it doesn't handle rubbing alcohol, then you will again use water and soap. Very little bit of dish soap. If you're working with really high-end, high-profile products, then you will be working with a person whose job is to detail instead of like what we're doing here, where we're doing it ourselves. Every little piece that we don't clean here now, we have to fix in Photoshop. So might as well do it now. All right, so you can actually see kind of how cool this looks. We have a whole bunch of great highlights here on all the up parts. The edges are getting highlights, but the front is fairly flat and subdued. It's dark, it's in shadow by comparison. That's great, that's what we're looking for. We are about to change that, however, right now with the inclusion of another light. And our next light is over here. These are flash points. These are basically like pro photo. I think they're kind of, you know, sort of a pro photo design ripoff, but I'm not going to complain because as far as money goes, which I think these cost like $500 each, they are beyond their worth. Beyond their worth. They are sturdy, they are resilient, they are reliable, they are powerful, and they are really good with all those things for the price. And, you know, they look pretty sick. For this, we will use our other C-stand because it lets us articulate. Oh, you also notice the vacuum. If you are doing product photography, I suggest you vacuum every day. Just get into the habit, it'll help your work tremendously. All right, we are going to bring the guy like this, bring him up so he's sort of out of our head range so we don't bonk our skulls on this thing. These are battery powered, and these are also what's going to be triggering the other lights. So if I turn this on, and we'll just dial it down for now, don't need all that power. Down, 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 down. Watch, when I shoot this, everybody goes off. So those guys are what's known as optical subordinates. This guy here would be the commander in this case. And I'm going to attach him just like that. And do you remember what we said earlier about kind of what we're doing here? If I look very carefully and I match it up, I will be able to get that light here that's moving. Oh Lord, stop. Hey you. We'll be able to get that light to basically create a shape on this screen, quotes, screen, which will then project onto this. And in fact, what's actually going to happen is that the product will project to camera what it sees from here. And I know that's kind of a weird way to put it, but that's kind of how it works. We can turn on our little light there. In fact, how's this for cool? We have our little device here, and we can turn on and off the modeling light to kind of see where it is being useful. Right now we can see that there's having a lot of influence up here. We kind of wanted, I like my gradients or my light to start in this corner and then get darker down below. So if the camera's sort of here, what we can do is then just recognize that fact. The spring loaded literally scared the crap out of me. Great. Oh my God, I swear to God. All right, let's bring this guy maybe kind of over here. And you can also create shapes. So if I bring this, say I turn it, so you see how it kind of feathers, it's hot here, but then it kind of gets soft. That will also be translated onto the screen, and therefore the product will also sort of pick up that shape. All right, let's see where we are here. Oh, that's way better. That's way better. Oh, yeah. Awesome. Okay, so we can turn that mod off. Okay, now comes the expensive part, the camera. And in this case, the camera and the lens. However, I have a cheap tripod. We could be using a much more expensive Manfrotto, or we could go with our $70 Zoomy, which is exactly what we're going to be doing. The reason for that is simply because, you know, why not? as far as the camera goes, not cheap. EOS R5 with the absolutely stunning, ridiculous 85mm f1.2, or as I like to call it, overkill. All right. So I know it seems like I should be going into portrait instead of landscape, but here's the thing. If I can get this lens may not work. We may not be able to push it back far enough to get this whole thing in frame, believe it or not. But I could probably do it if I went landscape, or I'm sorry, portrait, tall. However, all of the products that I do for them is shot in landscape because this is an oddity. The tall wide thing is an oddity. So it's better to be consistent, so that way it works with all the other photos that I've given them. And whoever is in charge of their website won't send us hate mail. Fair enough? We'll take the lens cap off, always a sign of surefire success. And yeah, we definitely have to move back. Can we do it? I don't know. Oh, yes, we can. Yes, we can. Actually, we can do it beyond stunningly. Okay, so let's flip this guy out. Hopefully you can see what's happening there. There's sort of our first photo, but that's not the real thing. So here's what we're gonna do. I know this thing does f1.2 and it's an amazing device. We're not using it at that today. We're gonna be using it at about f11 with a shutter speed of about 1/60th and our ISO at 100. If we take this photo now, it is almost pitch black, which is great because we're trying to alleviate all of the ambient. We really don't want the ambient in this photo. That's why we spent all this time getting the light set up. Let's see what happens. This isn't going to be a great photo, but let's just see. Okay, it's actually a pretty good photo. That's not a terrible photo right out of the gate. That's frighteningly good, actually. That is a deceptively good photo right out of the gate. The one thing I would like to do is just give it a little bit more of a turn. Not a whole lot, just a hint. And yeah, let's just see what we can get from that. 1, 2, 3. Whew. I mean, that's... See how we're sort of bright here, and then as we get down to the bottom, we are nice and clear. We have an edge, a white edge there. You'll see, like if I go back to play, whoopsie, go back. We have this white edge. That is from the corner there. I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not gonna be bugging about that since this is just sort of a catalog. If this was something that I was going to be more picky about, what I would do is the following. I would basically, let's turn on our histogram real quick. You can see we have a lot of white in the histogram. That's okay, that's good actually. We don't care about that. Is there a place to look at the blinky highlights? Let's see, image review. We'll go all the way back this way. So, no. Highlight tone, anti-flicker. Don't see it there. Clarity. Might be here. Let's see. Oh, highlight alert. Let's turn that on. That's perfect. Okay, so do you see that big blinky part? That means that when we take this into Photoshop, we're done. All of that black stuff is pure white. That's what we want. The product is perfect. Look, here's the thing. This isn't luck necessarily. the fact is, it's like, you know, I had these lights set up from a previous shoot where we did similar things. So all the settings are basically dialed in. The only one that was kind of luck was when I dialed in that guy there to, what is he at, 1/64th power. That was pure luck. It just happens to be right, okay? Cool, cool, cool. So that's kind of that. And then maybe what we'll do is one shot where now these want to fall over. Okay, well, because they want to fall over, we're not going to futz with them. What we will do, however, I think it's important to know sort of what you're getting into with these things. So what I'll do is I'll take a picture of like either the top or the bottom. You'll see why here in a second. And the reason why we're taking the effort to take a picture of the top / bottom is it has this very specific type of connection. And that's how it sort of connects to whatever it is, like the pole or whatever, right? And people need to know how these things work. I think it's super important. And it's something I talk about all the time in photography. I think if you're doing product photography and there's little details like that, you are obligated to take them. Even if your client says, we don't need that, or they don't mention it, you go and you get it regardless. And in fact, with this guy here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take him, I don't need him. I'm not going to move the tripod, but I am going to go in and just get a nice up close photo of this. Just like that. And that's it. Ooh, man, that looks good. That looks good. Awesome. All right. So maybe the next step would be is to take another photo here for you guys. We will put this guy away. Like that. Maybe like this. Sorry, Gwen. You okay, baby girl? Gwen's good. She's the badass of the family. All right. Oops. This way. There we go. One done. Sorry, baby girl. Put this over here. So. Okay. So then here comes the job for the gloves. Actually, this is a really good one here. So this is a very strange sort of type of device. It is a swivel table bracket. But if we get under here in the light, I don't know if you can see this, but there's all types of dust, fingerprints, all types of crap. So, in order to clean this up, we're going to do what we talked about earlier. We're going to get a couple sheets, and it just so happens we've got right here 91% rubbing alcohol. And I'm just going to go in there, get some directly onto our little towel. And the reason why we use rubbing alcohol is because it doesn't react with the metal in almost any cases. There are some finishes on the metal that it might react to, so be careful, some varnishes, things like that. But it won't rust, it won't oxidize. You can put it on fairly juicy like I'm doing right now. It does evaporate quick, which you would think is kind of a good thing, but it's not always. Things that evaporate quick will often leave like streaks. So I'm just going to keep working this like that, like that, like that. Over here you can see where you are getting a little bit of a streaking. Then come over to our dry towel. And then really use my fingers to sort of rub it dry. Now, the one thing I will say is, like, with a lot of metals, they're often brushed, polished. If they're not sandblasted, they're almost always brushed in some way. Brushed, polished. You know, so you see brushed aluminum, and you'll notice here, look how much cleaner that is. You'll see the grains go from this direction to this direction. You almost always want to clean in that direction. You just get better results. And because these pieces of metal are usually square and they're sort of fed into a press by just some random guy, I mean, you know, a factory worker who's just literally earning his money so he can go home. They don't always, the grain isn't always in the same direction. It's almost always a 50-50 proposition. All right. So there we go. Now I just happen to know that that is the front because I've shot some of these before. And you notice that we always have the angles. I'm not doing this like super scientifically. If you were doing this super scientifically, again, somebody's paying you really big money for a set of very high profile, like you're working with NVIDIA and you're trying to shoot their newest series of graphics cards or whatever, and every single graphics card has to sort of be in the same angle, same light, all that stuff. Well, the lighting's not a problem because you don't move that, but our angles are obviously, I'm just guesstimating. It's like, oh, turn it that way a little bit, right? What you would do is you would put marks down and maybe even a jig that would help you align it every single time. And I'll do that sometimes, but not super frequently, to be honest with you. Okay. We're going to readjust our camera because this product is nowhere near as big as the last in any respect. Turn on our light. I'll flip this down for you and then it'll just explode. Okay, we are extremely hot right now, like way hot. And a lot of that heat is coming from our light up above. It's coming from this guy right here. There's a big difference between reflective and that yellow plastic we had. This is obviously going to retain a lot more of that. So I'm going to turn it way down. I've turned it way more, like maybe 4 stops. I think it's like a 5 or 6 stop range, and I've gone like way down. And you can see that's just 100% better. Now, we don't have the same amount of, well, first of all, the light looks great. I'm happy with sort of like the way that that's dark to light, and then over here, dark to light, cool reflections. There's detail. We even have the reflection in the table, which is cool. And you'll notice that we don't have the full blinkies, but that's not a problem. There are some tools inside of Photoshop. Every one of these photos has to be photoshopped in some weird little tiny way just to ensure that it's pure white. Not that big of a deal. So that's not a problem. There's some really easy ways to fix that. This is perfect. And with that, this guy is now done. So we'll pick him up, and you can see how easy these things are once you've prepped. Once you are prepared for what it is you're taking a photo of, it is super easy. Let's see what's in our next big guy here. He is very big, very heavy, feels a little cantankerous. So let's get a box opening tool. There we go. I wanted that to look cool. Here, let's try again. Yeah. Oh my goodness. This literally looks like, ooh, that's kind of, what is that? All right, I got a plane here. Oh my, yeah, it's heavy. Okay, a couple things. One, let's just go ahead and hit it while it's in the box. Out of the box. And this straight up is like a street. Oh yeah, no, this is like 100% just a street box, you know, like just a lamp box, street light. Well, probably for that, for the actual street signal, traffic signal. Okay, well, that's interesting. It's very dusty. It seems to be cast iron of some sort. This one is a lots of dust, probably release agent or some other absolutely wonderfully toxic chemical here. Just start dry, do our best not to breathe any of whatever this is. I'm guessing this is all either oxidation, probably oxidation. So because of that, we'll definitely use alcohol on this again. And it looks to me like it's cast. And then the cast edges are, I doubt that's welding. I really doubt that that's welded. Nope, that's cast. And I think for this guy, we'll get him up there carefully. And yeah, I have little pieces of paper that we can use so that we don't scratch our beautiful white acrylic. Oh yeah, that thing is not, it's not small. All right, so now we have to work on our modeling light again because whole new product, whole new problem. Put them over there, see what that gets us. That's almost right, almost. Turn it like that maybe? Ooh, yeah. All right, here we go, you ready? Oh, probably have to come back a little bit here. A. What a random thing to take photos of, don't you think? But we knocked it out of the park. I mean, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying here, people? People? Look at that. You get great contrast. Like I said, you do see all the mung and all the little side goobers. I might try to fix like the really big ones in Photoshop, but other than that, I'm not going to panic. We should get a picture of the top so people know exactly what it is they're about to get into when they buy this thing. Like, oh my God. There we go, nailed it. Nailed it, awesome. And that guy is, what a random product. I mean, like really, what a random product. This is the stuff I love doing though, because like where else are you gonna get a chance to like take a picture of a street light post stand? And we'll just put him like that. And how's he doing light wise here? He's a little small, so I'm not going to be able to control the light on him as much as maybe the other things, but I can still do some kind of, I can still work it. There we go. All right. He's so small. Here, let's get a little bit closer here. I mean, he is tiny. He is tiny. He doesn't even barely fills the frame. In fact, what we'll do real quick here. Look at that. Look at just how even the light is. Everything, you got a nice highlight here. Everything's a little darker on the front, little brighter on the top and the sides. It just kind of lets it sit out of the background. I love that stuff. Okay, before we go any further, I'm going to do, we have this windy thing and this metal thing, but let's see what's in here. Because if everything is sort of in this size and shape range, it's better to stick with that. Okay, so what would be a cool one to sort of stop on here? Okay, these are our lights, battery charger, battery pack. We just did a battery pack. All right, let's do, I think these things are always interesting. Oh yeah, this is, I can already tell this one's gonna be quite nice. 1, 2, 3. And yeah, that's just, that's just a cool looking picture. Whoops. It's clean, you can see that. Everything looks nice. I may have to turn up the background though a little bit. I feel like I can see the edge. Well, I guess if that's not too bad of a thing for Photoshop to take care of. We'll do one more photo here like that, just for coverage. And then let's go ahead and turn this up a little bit more, kind of back to where he was. So he is at, I would say, 90% full power. Yep, and that's way cleaner. Way cleaner. You can just see all the edges are still there, the detail's still there. That guy's in the background. But most importantly, that is razor sharp. Oh my God, this lens is out of control. Whoever thought about using this Canon, and I mean 2 N's, C-A-N-N-O-N, this absolute beast of a lens as product. This is, if people think about 85 2.1, this is a portrait lens. BS. Obviously, when it comes to products, this thing is just an insane beast. Insane. It is a power supply. Look, sometimes it takes me a little while, but I get there, okay? Yep, and that is just, again, absolutely just a beautiful textbook shot. I mean, you don't really need a whole lot more than that. That's just so clean. It's so clean. Okay, so this might be one where I want to get the back. So what I might do here is just put my 2 fingers, this is a small product. I might just put my 2 fingers there and turn it. And I just happen to know that that's going to be in roughly the same spot, like basically identically. So if we scroll between these two, you can see that it looks like it's almost the exact same spot. There's the foreground, background. It shifts a little bit, but nothing serious. And you can see the back, you can see how it mounts. That's a real nice photograph. And these are happening so quick, so fast, so much fun. I love these things. I love doing stuff like this. And so what I would do with these is something like this. Actually, the first thing that we'll do is make sure they're all facing sort of in the same direction, like that. Oh, there's dust again. It's gonna mess everything up. It's like air hockey table. And I think the only problem is just the nature of this guy is sort of let me just zoom in on that real quick. Oh, perfect. Perfect. Oh my goodness. Easy. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. It was very, just a true look into what sort of happens around here for things when we're doing photography. We're not done with our street series. In fact, we're planning the next one, which I think is going to be really, really cool. But in the meantime, while it's super cold and I've got things to do, I thought this would be fun. Give us a chance to see the glorious 85mm f1.2 in action in the studio for products. For products. How crazy is that? To me, that's crazy. That's absolutely bonkers. But let me know what you think. Please leave comments down below. Like it if you found this kind of interesting. Please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and we will check all of you later.